he's a native son from the population center of this congressional district. And I want to say something that relates to his ability. He has served, currently is serving as the chair of the Suffolk County Planning Commission. And from that very responsible position, he has touched the lives and influenced the destiny of our great county from one edge to the other. His service in that capacity is, in my opinion, and some of you may recall, I served in the county legislature for 10 years before the last 20 years in the state legislature. In the time that I have been observing and becoming one of the senior members of our party, David has excelled in this and many other civic investments that he has made into our community, and he has earned our trust. He has earned our hopes, and he presents himself before you as a man with a resume that deserves serious attention. In my opinion, he is the finest chair of the Planning Commission that we have ever had in this county. He's helped drive new regulations that have already, in fact, reformed and advanced solar energy and its application throughout this county, and many other examples of his investment of time to protect our drinking water. Many of his efforts, in fact, relate to the environment, which is our quality of life. And so he's all grown up now. A successful businessman, self-made, well-educated at the finest school in our nation, except for Stony Brook University. And he is ready. It's my great honor to have endorsed him early because I believe in him, and it's clear that I am not alone. Our next Congressman, David Calone.
This works or not. Thank you, Assemblyman Engelbright. How about a round of applause for Assemblyman Engelbright? Not quite as tall as he is, but my memory does go back to those early days. And people like Steve Engelbright have been inspirations to me. And when we see people who are serving selflessly day after day, working to move our community forward, it's people like Steve Engelbright who I look to as models for me. So thank you, Steve, for everything you've done. We have a few other great leaders here in the crowd today. I want to recognize a few of them. In particular, Vivian Valoria Fisher, who's here. Another inspirational leader who's moved our community forward. Following her footsteps, and those are big footsteps, but she's doing a great job, is Kara Hahn. Kara is here somewhere. We also have a great councilwoman here, Valerie Cartwright. Bruce Miller from the Village of Port Jefferson, the current trustee. Bruce Miller. Thank you for being here. We also have some great leaders in the making here in Suffolk County who are with us here today. And I want to thank them in particular for coming from all over this district. This is a huge area that I seek to represent. It goes from Smithtown, most of the township of Smithtown, all the way out to the East End. We have friends here from East Hampton and from Smithtown and everywhere in between. But we have a few candidates who are running for election this year. And while the election that I seek is next year, and I need your help because it is a long process and it is a long road to hope. In the next 4 weeks, our goal is to stand up for the Democrats who are standing up for this region, and those people include people like Larry Vetter in Smithtown. Larry, hello. John Bouvier from the town of Southampton, running for town council. Rich Macellaro, where's Rich? There he is, right here. I also want to thank, we have a great leader in the township of Smithtown for the Democratic Party, Ed Maris here. Where's Ed? There he is, right there. The elections that we have coming in the next 4 weeks are critically important. So one thing, well, I want to talk to you for a few minutes here today about why taking back this congressional seat is important. We also need to start building and continuing to build throughout this district. And it starts by electing people like Larry, like John, like Rich, and re-electing Valerie, re-electing Kara. Because without our hard work in the next few weeks, we know that they will not be back. And we need them back. We need them back because they are working every day for the working families of this district. They're standing up for our environment when it's put under pressure. They're standing up for making sure that we have an economy that works for all of us. Thank you, Kara. Thank you, Valerie, for the work you've been doing. Thank you, Vivian, for the work you have done in the past. And I look forward to working with people like Larry and John and Rich and others going forward. At the end of today, we're asking each of you to stay with us for a few minutes and make some phone calls on behalf of the candidates who are running just this month, or the next month, the next 4 or 5 weeks. We need your help making sure that they are back. Because at the end of the day, it's great to have a congressional seat. But unless you have people who are standing with you at every level of government, it is a far more uphill battle. So please join us afterwards for that. I want to tell you for just a few minutes, and I appreciate you all being out here on what has turned out to be a beautiful Sunday. Who would have thought, 24 hours ago, we were trying to think, well, should we cancel with the weather and, this hurricane coming, and gosh, great day. So I appreciate you taking time on this beautiful day to be with us. And I don't want to keep it too long. There's so many people here, this room's getting darn hot. So I appreciate y'all being here. But look, I'm running because I think we need a member of Congress who stands up for the Long Island economy and Long Island workers. For me, it's about creating jobs and making sure that not only our region prospers, but our nation prospers. I've had, when I was 27 years old, I stood up for the first time in federal court. I took the oath as a federal prosecutor, and I said, I'm here representing the people of the United States of America. When Lee Zeldin was 27 years old, he started running for office. And he's run for office, and he's run for office, and he's run for office. And he's been doing that he's now run for office 5 times in his life. Since I chose a different path. When I was 27 years old, I was a federal prosecutor. I worked around the country and around the world to keep our country safe. I worked on fighting back against corporate abuse and corporate fraud. I worked to fight against terrorism. After 9/11, I went and prosecuted healthcare fraud and took back taxpayer money. We recovered the largest settlement ever for taxpayers in New York State. I then went into the business world, where I've helped start and grow companies around the country and right here on Long Island. We've now helped launch 9 companies coming out of the research labs right here in our backyard. At the end of the day, what matters is that people like my kids, and they're here today. I know Sarah and Peter and Meg are around here somewhere. Michaela's here too, I think, somewhere, and a few others. But what matters is that my kids and all of our kids have the opportunity to have the kinds of jobs that they need to be able to afford to live in a place like this. I never realized what kind of sacrifice my parents made to live here until I got my first mortgage bill. And you realize, hey, Long Island's a great place to live, and there's great schools, but gosh darn, it is a tough place to live. And we need to make sure that our kids have the ability to stay here and thrive here when it's time for them to choose whether to stay or whether to go. And that means having the kinds of jobs that can afford them to be able to live here. It means having the kind of housing that allow them to be able to stay here. I know a few of my teachers are here, and it's great to see you. Thank you all from the earliest days on through to high school. Did a good job. First grade, my first grade teacher is here. But we know that we live in a wonderful place where our kids can get a fantastic education. And that's critically important. We know that we live in a place that's a beautiful place. Long Island is a great place to live, particularly if you're well off. It's a challenging place if you're middle class. And it's a darn near impossible place to live if you're poor. We need to make sure that all the folks on Long Island have the ability to attain the kinds of jobs they need, good paying jobs that allow them to be able to afford to stay here. That means making sure that we have apprenticeship programs so folks can go into the trades. By the way, Roger Clayman is here. Roger, thank you for all the work you did. Thank you, Roger. And I'm privileged to have his wife, Lillian, as our political director for the campaign as well. We need to make sure that there's a path for folks to go into the trades and into careers. We need to make sure that our kids have the ability to become engaged in computers and science. You know, I've been able to be successful building companies, but it's only because we're able to hire the right kinds of people. One of the companies that I started 6 years ago was just named Inc. Magazine's list as one of the fastest growing companies in the country.
Wow. Yeah.
We need more of those.
Yeah.
And every big company started as a small company. So we need more small companies here on Long Island and across our country to become the next employers of the future. We need to make it easier for people to build companies. We need to make it easier for people to build careers. We need to make it easier for people to actually build bridges and the roads and the kinds of things we need to drive our economy forward. But, you know, unfortunately, the Congress right now, we're seeing all the wrong kinds of votes, distracted with things that are completely irrelevant to the lives of the American people. Failing to stand up to invest in infrastructures, we have the roads and bridges we need, failing to support our manufacturing community, failing to support women's health, failing to support our environment. Folks, we need a change in Washington, and I'm happy to be the person standing up here. Make no mistake, we have a long road ahead of us, and it starts here today. So thank you for being here from the beginning. Thank you for being here to stand here with me on this beautiful day in October. And I hope we'll look back on this day and say this was the start. But it doesn't, we're not going to get to our end, our goal, unless we all work together. And so I need your time, and yes, I need your treasure. Because unfortunately, let me tell you, these races are so expensive. And I know my friends who are running like John and Larry are experiencing this just today. But raising money for political campaigns has become, unfortunately, in the system we have now, one of the most important things we do. There's a little room over there. There's no windows. And that's the room I sit in every day. And I sit on the phone and I ask people for money. And that's what my campaign is focusing on. That is the reality under the system we have now, under the rules created by Citizens United and other incredibly short-sighted decisions by the Supreme Court. We need to change the system. But until I can get there to help change the system, I need your help to work through the system we have now. And that means time, and that means your help financially as well. But we're going to have volunteer events here frequently. I know Lillian will talk in a minute about that. Also, Tony, our interim campaign manager, is here in the middle. I think we have a sign-up sheet going around. I know Laura's up at the front desk somewhere. But my team is here. Many of you have been here from the very beginning. And I want to thank all of you who've been with me even over the last couple of months. People like Barry McCoy and Virginia Capon and Jonathan Kornreich and the Hoffmans and so many others. Thank you, because we wouldn't even be here without you. But we have a clear path forward, and I need your help in moving forward on that track. So please, on behalf of my kids and all the kids who live here on Long Island, let's get our economy moving again in a way that makes sense, that makes sure that we have good paying jobs that allows our kids to afford to stay here. Let's make sure we have the kind of housing we need. Let's make sure we invest in our infrastructure. Let's make sure that America always remains the place where innovation happens. We live in the greatest country in the world, we know that. But we need to make sure it remains that way. And it only remains that way. It only is the place where innovation happens. It's only the place where the future is invented if we work every day, and we have members of Congress setting national policy who believe that should be our goal, not figuring out how to, torpedo the president left and right, not trying to figure out how to defund women's health, not trying to figure out how do we, build pipelines. We need to be focused on our economy and building strong families. Because at the end of the day, our country, our strength as a country comes from our strength as a people and our strength of our economy. We need to make sure that that is where we are as a nation and remains our bedrock. Thank you all for being here. Thank you.